Our money topic today is going to be small business financing trends to watch in 2023. It's been obviously a weird last 3-4 years. There's been a lot of benefits, a lot of pros that have kind of come with some of the wackiness that we've seen in the marketplace from the government, from the pandemic, et cetera. But things are coming to an head and definitely changing in 2023. So having a business funding advocate is going to, kind of help you. And that's what we're here to do and serve you, whether you're in business finance yourself or you're a business owner looking to grow. Let's jump right into this article here. This is small business financing trends to watch. This is at businessnewsdaily.com. There we go. So a few questions asked. Is a recession coming and how long will it last? There was technically a recession last year, and then things started to look better. Today, the GDP numbers came in, showed the economy slowed down. It was closer to 1% growth instead of the 2% plus that the last two quarters had brought us in at the end of 2022. So the first two quarters of 2022, they were negative, and then quarter 3 and 4 were very positive. I think around 3 and 2.5%. And so the expectation was, it's going to slow a little bit this quarter, maybe to 2, but it was much closer to 1%. So basically, this article is saying, number one, a recession is likely with inflation at unsustainable levels. The Federal Reserve is raising interest rates. We know this. Mary Tudakian, that's quite a cute name, is a mortgage broker with When Your Mortgage Matters, believes the Fed will go too far and won't know for sure. We're in a recession until 2 months into it. That means she thinks they're going to keep on raising interest rates, and there's kind of a lag time, and then that'll hurt business, that'll hurt sales, things will slow down. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, business lending is tightening up. Ty, you and I are in the trenches every single day and working with small business owners who are needing financing and funding. What are we seeing in small business lending trends right now, maybe that is a little bit different or maybe more difficult than it was a year ago?
What's kind of interesting, Leo, what I'm seeing here lately is that more money is actually being dispersed. They're just getting pickier with their underwriting. We kind of talked about this on Tuesday. That's why it's really, really important you have super buttoned up files, but the money's still there. The money's still flowing. They're still putting money out into businesses like crazy, but they're getting a little bit pickier about who they're lending to. So it's not a money issue. It's a matter of making sure that you are really ready to go for financing and understanding that maybe a recession is looming and the time to get money is well before you need it.
I think that's a really good point, Ty. Even during the recession of 08-09 in 2009 and 10, I was still able to get people access to money and capital. And exactly what you're saying, but I made sure they had really tip-top credit profiles. Their businesses looked great. And it's just what we do every day serving business owners. Like it's kind of like window dressing. Like you've got to make sure you take the steps. Before you go ask for money, you need to have the best presentation possible. And that's everything from your business and credit profile. And so if you do put that together, but guess what happens during a recession, a slowdown, uncertainty, all of a sudden your credit card balances go up, your credit score goes down, the business bank account doesn't look quite as strong as it did, all that money that the government handed out, well, that stopped being handed out. You don't look as good to a lender. And so it's not necessarily that things even tighten. It's just like, well, people, you've really got to look good if you're going to apply for money. Number three, interest rates are increasing. We've all seen that. Mortgage rates have gone up. Car loan rates have gone up. Now, the first few months of this year seems like we did see a bit of a pullback with those rates, but they're not taking a nosedive by any means. They're still a lot higher than they were over the last several years.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to dive into this, but ultimately I wonder if there's some sort of aspect of we've got to keep these high, we've got to keep these high so that our current president can come in and be a hero right before the election and drop the rates drastically so that I can't think of a better way to campaign.
It's a really good point.
Than really just abruptly dropping the interest rates.
And then changing things, and there might be a little bit of inflation that comes back, but probably the plan is if you're a government, if you're an administration in the White House, you want what every administration wants in their first term, to have a second term. And even if you're kind of a zombie president, not really there, but other people are managing, the workshops and the country for you, then that's a good strategy, right? If you were working in that administration and you want to keep your job for 4 more years, then you would, hey, let's keep these rates high. Let's see things slow down. And then in 2024, maybe the second quarter or so, we start to lower rates, things pick up, and everything is turning around. It's a win-win-win right before. That's a good strategy.
And if you don't win the election and the other party wins it, well, guess what? Now they're the ones that's stuck with the inflation that's looming because of the lowered interest rate. So I almost wonder if that's why we do see a lot of this movement traditionally around election time.
Guys, regardless of where you fall on the political spectrum, you have to admit the Democrats have a better strategy. I mean, for the first 2 years of the Biden administration and everything to go the way it was, like there was this big, it's going to be a big red wave, right? All these Republicans are going to win. And that didn't happen except in the state of Florida. Everywhere else, it didn't happen. And so you have to tip your hat and say, wow, for things to be as bad as they were with inflation out of control, the Afghanistan thing, the war, all the different things going on that aren't necessarily positive or helping America, and to still be able to keep a lot of those seats, like you just got to say they've got better strategists out there that are getting things done, and the Republicans are not very good at having a message that resonates with enough of the population, and there's certainly changes going on there. And,
I mean, look at it like this, Leo. I know a lot of people that could really benefit from this, a lot of people that think it's silly. Again, I'm not going to get into my opinion, but if you're running for president and your big thing is I'm going to forgive student loan and people with shitty credit are going to get better interest rates than those with good credit, well, guess what? You're talking to a very, very, very large percent of the population. And so
and we were talking about this last episode, that Biden administration idea of, hey, let's put extra fees on people with good credit, and with people with bad credit, we're going to have discounts. And so basically you're going to subsidize the people with better credit are going to pay more so that the people with lower credit can, still benefit. And that's just crazy. That's not how this country was built. If we keep on living this participation trophy ideology mentality in this country, it's going to damage everything. And we certainly don't want to see that happen. So y'all need to, you need to post about this. You need to talk about this. You need to go to your school board meetings and make sure that at the youth level that we get away from participation trophies, that people are held accountable, that we reward meritocracy instead of bullshit, because that's the only way that things are going to continue. We'll continue to be the best country in the world. And if you think participation trophies are going to win you, in the competition of the economy and other competitions that could get very ugly with China, people are going to be very disappointed in that. Here's the next thing this article says. There are limited government programs for small businesses. There's actually been a number of programs for small businesses, but historically over the last decade, the government hasn't done a great job of providing opportunities, but I feel like they've really stepped up in the last 3 years, and there's been more opportunities than ever for small businesses to access money through government programs. SBA has always traditionally been difficult, but if you're an established business, SBA has gotten a little bit easier. They've got that SBA Bolt program. We've helped a lot of people with that program, and so that's something to look at. But if you're a new business, SBA is not going to be your friend. That's where you're going to need creative financing if you're a new business. Let's see. We got 2 more points here. Tech plays a critical role in managing finances. If you're not using a fintech application to help you manage your business profitably and know where you're spending your money and how you're doing. Are you winning? Are you losing? Like I remember, the business we were a part of years ago, we never knew if we were winning or losing. And point of fact, we were losing because we had no idea where our money was at, where we were at. That's why we built the MyFigures membership to help small business owners manage their money, get it right. So you need to use technology. And if you're not using technology and these different machine learning algorithms to help you be better with your business, then you're going to lose to all the people that are. And the last one is small business. Economic and financing changes are coming. What do we think they are? I mean, they're just kind of guessing here. If you're going to guess, what do you think would be some of the trends or changes?
I think you're just going to see more regulation. I think you're going to look at the SVB thing as a big example, and there's going to be regulation on how you can lend money and how you have to have a diversified profile or portfolio of who you're lending money to. I see that coming. I definitely don't see as much doom and gloom here in the near future as that article is saying. I think maybe that article was trying to really encourage everyone to get a HELOC right now before things get worse, which probably is not a bad idea. You know, you can always go.
You want to have access.
Yeah, exactly. I talked to a client it was earlier this morning saying, you know, I need money. I didn't get it a year ago when I had the option to get a home equity loan at this rate, and now it would be this expensive. And that's why we continue to preach. It's way better to have the money and not need it than vice versa. So I think it's good to go out there and get it while it's available. If anything, my take, Lee, was maybe just a little more regulation.
Yeah, for sure. More regulation, and especially if the Biden administration gets a second term, you'll see even more regulation that will come to business. And so we're all just going to have to adjust to that. And hopefully, you know, as business owners, we focus on electing people who are going to support business owners, because the big guys out there, the Facebooks, the Metas, all of the Apple, Samsung, all those big, huge companies, they're going to be just fine. They've got bureaucratic people in Washington. They've got lobbyists. They'll take care of themselves with regulation. But it's a small business owner that gets hurt because they don't have the extra time and money to pay for attorneys for extra regulation. So
I will say this. I do think we are going to see in the very near future a lot of people starting to default on that EIDL. I think that money was handed out like candy way too easily. People that didn't need it, didn't deserve it, didn't understand the repercussions of it. I think we're going to see a lot of business owners start to default on the EIDL and think, oh, it doesn't matter, it's the government. But
they'll come after you.
Yeah.
You signed that loan in blood. They'll come after your house. They'll come after, you know, every asset that you've got, and they will take it. So keep that in mind, guys. You got to be generating profits and income to pay those loans back, and hopefully you have them backed with a business that's moving forward or assets that are maintaining their value.